Marc Zalmonoff, what's up, homie?
What is that?
We got you sitting across the table from me here. We're in a different studio than we've ever been in before. Part of the new office set that we got, which is kind of cool. One of them perks. Yeah, this room's pretty dope. I recorded a session for someone else's podcast in here. I don't know, a week ago, 2 weeks ago. My internet was being a complete fucking douchebag. I was like, man, I got to hop on a Zoom and record a video with this dude. And I don't want to be that guy who's got like this terrible internet connection and just causes the hour-long conversation to go to dog shit. So I came in here, logged into the internet, and used the gear. And it worked out. Got done.
That's the worst. The Zoom where it's like keeps freezing. It's like, do you? And somebody's like, somebody catches this a weird fucking face.
Yeah. Hey, before we dive into today's stuff here, you're wearing your infamous SUCKcess shirt.
Yeah, buddy. Available at markzfitness.com/shop.
Shameless play. Which is awesome. So I told you recently I went to Orlando with family, and day one we get there, and I was wearing my SUCKcess shirt through the parks. My Lord, was I getting the family folks like, oh, what is this? Here's this, big giant fucking idiot like human tattooed and wearing a SUCKcess shirt, and I got some real strange looks from some people. Some people were like, yeah, fucking cool, let's go, and the other people were like, I don't know about that one.
So great. Anybody mistake you for like a character?
No. No.
It's good times, man. That had to be an awesome trip for you guys.
It was. I was done after a couple days.
After 40, 50 miles of walking.
Yeah. I think we were just over 30 miles.
It's a lot of
A lot of walking, which, is what it is. We knew we were getting into. So it was cool, for sure. But here we are today. This is like your 50th business.
I love it.
Yeah. And, man, so much shit's happened since the last time. And I think we said that the last time we recorded too.
It really is amazing just to sit and think of like the timeline since we've known each other and the evolution that both of us have gone through with our businesses and our families. And like, I have an additional family member now that I created by doing the one thing I think about most of the time.
Sex.
Yeah. It's awesome. Yeah. He's almost 5 months old already.
Yeah. So you got a new baby. We've got a Step It Up Academy at Rick and Morrow, which is cool. And on top of things, like we made the announcement a couple weeks ago at this point, but like you joined the Step It Up Academy team as the first official coach. That's pretty fucking cool. Yeah, I'm psyched for that. We just recorded with Bree, right? And Bree came in, dropped a lot of her knowledge and story on one of the last episodes here of the Step It Up Entrepreneur podcast. And like she's just a rock star. And she fits in with us, which is kind of weird because most people don't.
It was amazing. As soon as we all connected and you were like, hey, I'm bringing both of you guys on. And like, it really was an easy, transition for all of us to just work together. And you can always tell, I think, just from the communication standpoint, how people are going to interact with each other. We have a Slack channel and we usually chat with, several times a day.
Memes, gifts, and, inappropriate jokes.
Yeah. Easy. Yeah. Easy. But it's hard, it's hard to find the right people, right? We talk about it all the time about being aligned with your core values and hiring with those in mind, not just with the skill set, but with those core values too. And I think that's where a lot of people struggle because they're like, okay, well, this person has the skill set that I need. And when you're talking about something that Bree does, being the integrator to the integrator, there's definitely a high level of skill that's necessary. Yeah. But you still need the core values.
Yeah,
because if she was a prude or, uptight or whatever, like she wouldn't fit, none of us would like her. It wouldn't work.
I don't do well biting my tongue. If those who are listening haven't figured that out about me yet. And like, what would that look like if I had to hold back and reserve myself in my own company? I don't want to do that. Yeah. And she dishes up more shit than we do, which I think is great. But I think a lot of that has to do with who she is, some of these life experiences she had, 10 years being in the Marine Corps, being in a dude's environment for a good chunk of her career. Yeah. It's kind of indoctrinated her into, just be one of the guys. And she's totally not, dude. She's you meet her, it's like, there's no question. There's no question if it's, that's like that chick we've been passing the videos back and forth. It's going on the podcast, who gives a fuck? Yeah, there's this chick that keeps popping up in our Instagram feeds, and Mark and I share these videos back and forth, and we work out, we lift heavy weights, and this woman is one strong.
She's strong as fuck.
She's deadlifting.
Squatting 500 pounds, deadlifting 600, I don't know, like ridiculous.
Yeah, it's wild. Anyway, I don't. But no, it's dope as shit to have you in here. You know, this is not the first time you and I have come together and collabed and built some cool stuff in the mastermind program. And the difference here from me personally is like, and I'm doing it for myself, nobody else, which is a big plus for me. Right. And I was talking to someone about this recently. So many times over my career. So I started my first business, I was 21, and I was a solo dude, right? And it failed after 5 years and learned a lot of lessons. But that was the last time I went into a business arrangement for myself and me only. I got burned hard.
Yeah.
So over the years, I spent 11 years with a business partner. And then I went and served for someone else at a very high level under a very successful organization that still exists today. And now this is my first time in, geez, man, I think it's since 2005.
It's a long time.
Yeah, it's a long time. It's almost 20 years that I've been out on my own doing it for me, right? And this time is definitely there's massive differences to it versus, you know, who I was then versus who I am now. And some of the lessons that I've had to learn across the years are now getting implemented into this new company. And because I've gone through and done this shit before, I'm avoiding a lot of the pitfalls and have much more direction, and then I know what I need to do. And right, it's like you in the fitness space, you got a new brand, a new product that you're launching or just about to launch. You got new software you're rolling out and implementing over there on that side of your business. And if this was you 5 years ago, like you'd still be stumbling, or you'd still be doing the dumb shit you were doing that wasn't working.
100%. What I'm excited about is, you know, you and I have, like you said, we've learned so many lessons along the way, and what you're building with Step It Up Academy, we have examples around us that we have been an intimate part of and seeing the good, the bad, and the ugly. So we know some of the things to avoid. We know some of the people to avoid. We know because we learned and saw firsthand shit that didn't work and why things went sideways with certain people and certain arrangements. We can skip all that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, the other thing, I won't mention his name, but I was talking to a mutual friend of ours.
Yeah.
That speaks very highly of you. And he said, I know Thomas is going to be successful because he's not insecure. And I was like, I just laughed because we all knew what we were talking about. But, he's like, look, you're super confident in what you know. You're super confident in what you don't know. Mm-hmm. You're building the team around you with people who have similar skill set, but different personalities, different approaches, different life experience. And it's necessary, and you understand what it takes to build something that doesn't require you to work all the fucking time, like most of the fucking time, not all the time, you know? Yeah. And that's important. You know, you got a family, you got kids, I got a family, I got a new baby. Like, you know, we all have priorities that we have to figure out how all those things fit in our lives. And, you know, you very quickly reached a point where you're like, fuck, I'm at capacity.
Yeah.
And I could see it coming, and just knowing that, you know, we work so well together and have for, you know, in the gym, in other things, whatever, like it really seemed like a good, easy fit to just be like, hey, let's do this together.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, man, it's, I'm excited for it. There's cool shit that's happening already, right? So it's like, you're getting in I don't even want to use the word indoctrinated, but you're getting more included in the culture and the group of people. And not that you weren't prior, but now it's at a different level because there's a title that's been associated with Marc. Right. Hey, Marc's the other coach in Step It Up Academy. Cool. That holds some weight. So immediately people think of you as an authoritative figure because of that title. So you go in there, you add your insight, your thoughts to things, and people are like, oh shit, yeah, cool. I'm going to respect that dude. Right. I think there's a lot to say about that. But the other cool piece about it is like, hey, we're just getting started. Yeah. We got a new event that's about to launch, or we did a pre-sale already to our existing clients and people who are in the Facebook groups. And if you're not in the Facebook group, you should go check it out. Integrator Talk with Business Pros. Cool place to go and check out and see some of the cool, weird integrator shit that we talk about. But it's stuff that's important for businesses to succeed. It really is. So we got that launched. We got a couple tickets that have been sold to the event already. The official launch happens this Sunday, right? Sunday is going to be April 2nd or 3rd, something like that.
Can't sleep it.
It's April already. Yeah, tomorrow's April Fool's.
Yeah.
Uh, so we got that kicking off. The event's gonna be live May 10th and 11th here in Dallas, Texas. We've upgraded the event already. So this is the third one we're running since November 2022. We've upgraded the event. Oh, I got something to tell you right now too. I'm gonna brief the news on the podcast here. The Dallas Omni, which is in downtown Dallas, and the place is just dope as shit. It's connected to the convention center. I've done a lot of speaking engagements there in the past. It's just a nice hotel.
Yeah.
They got a pretty dope gym too, so when you want to beat the clients down, you're more than welcome, sir. We got the VIP dinner on Thursday, which is May 11th, and we just locked in Terry Black's barbecue.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got the back room in there, and Bree hits me up, and she's like, "Hey, what do you want to do, like, food-wise?" It's like, I have 2 requests, woman. Okay? Number 1, we will eat brisket. Number 2, there will be burnt ends. Anything else, you figure it the fuck out, and I'm cool with it. And she's like, received. Like, check, understood. And she got to work and did it. So I'm super excited. It's one of my favorite places, if not the best barbecue spot that I've been to in all my time living here in Dallas. And listen, I'm just a New Yorker, so I don't know barbecue from, my left eyeball. But I've been to a couple spots down here and like, dude, it's legit as shit.
Dude, so I have a strongman comp coming up in about 2 weeks or so, and I got to cut weight.
Dude, is that soon?
Yeah, it's April 15th. Yeah. So I got to cut weight for that to make my weight class. Otherwise, I can't be competitive whatsoever.
How does Smurfs lose more weight? Same guy.
Yeah. But by then,
Yeah.
I'll be doing whatever I want. So I will be getting the meat sweats. Good. Fucking loves barbecue.
No, it's fucking the best, dude. I might stab somebody for that brisket.
That's good too, because Laura, my wife, she's a pescatarian who eats bacon, but she doesn't eat beef, pork, or chicken. So we never go eat barbecue together because there's none of those places have any seafood options ever.
Yeah.
So usually if I'm eating barbecue, I'm taking my son Cheech, and we go over to Hutchins here in Frisco and throw down.
That's because,
but I don't get to do that very often because most of the time I'm with her.
Yeah.
So any chance I get to throw down is a barbecue.
Yeah, get it done.
Good choices.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited for it. It's gonna be cool. Yeah, man. So that event's kicking off, and let's just be fully transparent here because it's what I believe in, especially with what we do. A lot of people wind up coming in and working with us post-event, right? We wind up having people come in and they see what we do, how we operate at the event, and they say, "Oh shit, I'm actually interested in signing up, joining the mastermind because I want to interact with you, whether it's in the group coaching setting or a one-to-one coaching setting with either me or you or someone else on the team." And we get to really show people like what it's about and how we operate, how we do it. But I'm excited for that too, because this is the first event that we're having since I've been in business, since the start of Step It Up Academy, where it's not just me with a bunch of my friends who are coming to support me on stage. Right? Like I actually have my team with me now too to help to go through and do things. And I started seeing the benefits of that already even last night, right? So last night, post went out, boom, we tell this group with 500 plus people, hey, this thing's ready to roll. And we got a couple sales that came through, and going back to Slack, because that's what we use to communicate internally, the internal team communicates in Slack. You guys are in there messaging some stuff, and you got someone who's looking to potentially buy a group package of tickets, and Bree's putting together sponsorship packages. It's like, fuck, like I just didn't have the bandwidth to do that on the first 2 events because I was doing all of it myself. Yeah. So this is, I see this thing just starting to pop off here in a real good way, and it just excites the fuck out of my big head.
That's a lot of excitement.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bree said something to me today. She goes, "I think you're an integrator." And I said, I can see some of that. Like anytime I take the test, I'm real close. Like my scores for a visionary integrator are super, super close because I've been by myself more of my career than I have been with other people.
Yeah.
But I also, when I come into somebody else's organization, it's a total different mindset than when I'm doing my own thing.
Yes.
When it's my baby and my thing, I have to think of all the things and then integrate half of it and hopefully find some other people to help. Yeah. But when I'm in somebody else's business, I just assume the role that needs to be assumed at the time. So whether that's being creative and being a visionary and coming up with ideas, or implementing things and going, hey, this process isn't good, or hey, we could better, serve people doing this over here. like I just put on whatever hat's needed.
Yeah.
So it was an interesting comment from her. I'd never really think of myself that way, but again, it's just I've been by myself for so long that I just like you just get in that mindset like, well, if somebody's gonna do it, let's fucking do it.
You have to adapt to it, right? And it's funny. When I was coming up, we talked about this. I did a solo podcast before the one with Bree where I talked about my reasoning behind, reaching out to you and Bree and saying, hey, I need help. But I experienced this with my last company with Top Class, and there was nobody who was sitting in the visionary seat. There wasn't anyone who had the capacity to sit in the visionary seat. And if you want to take that as a punch to the dick, go ahead and take it. It is what it is. Okay. He ain't going to listen anyway, so I heard. So I went from having to sit in the visionary seat, and when I first took the visionary integrator assessment years ago, my visionary was higher than my integrator, right? So the more I learn, the more I do things, the more coaching I get, the more self-development I do. I wind up leaving that company and going to an organization similar to what you're saying here, where I didn't need to be the visionary.
Right.
I could focus on the integration side of things, and that's where I naturally just excel and fit better. So my integrator score when popped to the roof and my visionary dropped. And I took it again right before I went having a conversation with Bree. This is a day or two after the last Step It Up Academy Live in February. I took that assessment again, and my integrator score dropped by 5 points. I was like, I see what's happening here again. I see what's happening here again. Like, I have to be the visionary within my own company right now.
Yeah.
I may not always have to be in that role, but right now, that's what the company is requiring of me.
Yeah.
So I had to go out and find someone who could fill my shoes in the integration perspective of it or portion of it. And wouldn't you know, I went and found someone who's better at it than I am.
Lo and behold.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a valid point that a lot of business owners need to accept and like put your fucking ego out of the way. I guarantee you, like you may be savage at what you do, there's always somebody better on you than the planet. Oh, there's always someone who's 1 step or 10 steps ahead of you, just is better at whatever it is you do.
And I think too, with the ego thing, so I've seen this play out in the gym, right? So I hired this new coach last November. He's 23 years old, like brand fucking new coach. I don't think he's been an athlete all his life, but he never coached anywhere. Like he did some internships or whatever. And I remember, it was probably January or something. I was doing some lift in the gym and he's standing there and he's like, hey, have you ever done it this way? And I don't remember what it was. And I was like, no, but I'm going to try that. And it worked. It would have been real easy for me to go, what the fuck do you know, dude? Like this. Yeah, you ain't seen shit, right? But I don't have an ego when it comes. I just want to get better. And so it was a good lesson for both of us because afterwards I was like, hey man, thanks for saying something, number one, because I know it was hard for him in the beginning to speak up.
Sure.
It's my gym, my literal name's on the building. We got clients that have been in there for 4, 5, 10, 15 years training with me. So to throw somebody that new and that young into that environment's tough.
Yeah.
But I just, I want to win. I don't need to be right. I want to win.
Yeah.
And I want him to win too, because anytime he wins, I also win.
Bingo.
I had that conversation with him the other day. We're going to launch this new online program and we're going to make a lot of money, like a lot of money. Money that he can't even wrap his head around right now. I can because I've been growing over the years, but he can't even fathom what that looks like being in his bank account.
Yeah.
And I'm like, every scenario that you win in this, I win.
Yeah.
He's like, okay. So are you really comfortable paying me a lot of money? And that's what I told him. I was like, you can't win without me winning. I can win and you can make shit, but that's not cool. Like, man, that's not me anyway. That doesn't fulfill me.
You want to serve.
I can
share.
I can change his life over the next 3 years. By the time he's 26, then he can avoid another 14 years of bullshit that I had to go through because of my own stupid ass.
Yeah. Yeah. It's one of the reasons that we do what we do in a coaching realm is because we've gone in and had those pain points and, smashed our heads into the wall at 150 miles an hour and then done it 3 or 4 more times and still didn't learn the lesson. Right. So it's like, hey, cool. And then this is just my perspective on it. I find fulfillment in helping others avoid those pitfalls.
Absolutely. I've seen it just in the few calls that I've had with our pod and Step It Up. And a lot of times I think it's things that we take for granted because we've done it. You're like, well, doesn't everybody take this approach? But no, you don't. Like there was a time that we didn't know the things that we know. So I've gotten to a point where I'm not afraid to just open my mouth and say, hey, have you tried it this way? And if they have, cool. But if they haven't, and maybe there's one or two things can shift everything for them, where they have a different perspective on it, they use a different system, they approach it differently, and all of a sudden everything changes for the better for them with something that I think was like, oh, simple. It's simple, but we both know simple's not easy. Simple, but it's not easy.
Yeah, for sure. Look, man, bottom line is I'm excited for this. I'm excited to have you, part of the team and kind of like just on my side again and helping me do some cool shit and like literally helping people. And listen, we just talked about you and your new product you're launching here and you want to make money. You and I have both gotten to a point, and I think there was probably times in our careers where it was like, oh, I got to go chase the money. And we've talked about this too. Every time I've chased the money, I've completely fucking or something's died as a movie haywire. Yeah. Or you get the money for a little while and then something happens and you fucking lose it all. And I stopped doing that. Right. And for me now, like, yeah, money is a tool that's necessary to make certain things happen, whether it's on the personal or the business side. But my intent is to go and really provide serious impact and value to the people who I'm interacting with. Right. And in order for you to receive that from me, there has to be an exchange. Right. Because we also know that when you pay attention.
Yep.
So cool. Fucking pay me. Right. I am not doing this for free. I have a very kind heart, and trust me, I'll help people out whenever I can. It's not all about the money, but the money, especially in this setting, is important because you pay attention. That comes into this ecosystem. I then get to share it with my team, you, Bree, our VAs we have on the team, and other team members who are coming in, and this thing grows and expands. I was having a conversation with Clifton yesterday. Clifton Muckenpoos, love that guy. Yep. We were talking about the pyramid of impact. So let's say you are the top of the food chain at a company. You've got 10, 15, 20, 30 people, 2 people, doesn't make a difference, working for you. It's not just those 2 people. Let's say it's 2 people, right? Let's keep it simple. It's not just those 2 people that you're responsible for. Because, Joe Smith and Sally Jane, they both are employees of yours, but they also are married and have 2 or 3 kids at home, and sick grandma lives with them, and they got the dog, and they've also got 2 or 3 cars in the driveway, and like they own the house, so they got mortgage. Dude, you become responsible for all of that. And I know that's not exactly the case with me and you, because you have your own business that you still own and operate to this day, which is your main thing. But I still look at that from my perspective, like, hey, if I tell you I'm going to do X, Y, and Z as far as your compensation or payroll is concerned, and I tell you it's going to show up on these dates on a regular basis, it's going to fucking happen. And I'm going to bend over backwards and make sure it happens. But Clifton and I were talking about how deep that goes. So it's not just your team that it flows into your kids. So if I'm fucking with your pay or giving you a shitty interaction here in the workspace, you're going to go home and you're going to pass some of that negative energy on to your kids or your spouse. They're going to basically bottle that shit up after a certain amount of time and then pass it over to somebody else. So it's going to pass off some kid in school. That kid in school is going to go home and going to kick his mom in the shins. And then, like, seriously, like, everything there is interconnected at a very deep level. So it's not something I take lightly, and I never have and never will.
Well, and who is it? It's the Virgin Airline guy, Russell.
Oh, yeah.
Branson.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, he talks about, like, he doesn't focus on taking care of his customers, he takes care of his people.
Yeah.
Because when you take care of your people, then your people take care of the other people that we're actually serving.
Yeah.
So you talk about that trickle-down effect. Something as small as, like, the other day, Levi Tanner, one of our clients, his wife had, like, major knee surgery. Yeah. And just a simple, like, hey, man, just checking on you, make sure your wife's all good. Is there anything we can do for her? Because he's local to us.
Yeah.
And he's good. Like, he's got it all taken care of. But people just knowing that we're there for them makes such a huge difference, because you and I know, like, most people don't have people in their life that support them in anything.
Yeah.
Anything at all. Yeah. Everybody's so focused on their own shit in their own world, and most people are struggling all the time.
Yeah.
They don't have time to focus on other people. So when we're given this opportunity and this gift that we are able to connect with people and let them learn from our mistakes and our experience and fast track the process or whatever, like, to me, that's like me doing my God-given talent. Mm-hmm. And that's something I pray about that every day, that, hey, look, God, like, just put people in my path so that I can use the gifts and talents that you've given me to serve. Simple as that.
Yeah. perspective.
Yeah.
I love it, man. Hey, look, let's wrap this up. That way we can save some juice for the next one. I appreciate you coming in here, man. I'm really excited for what the future holds, not just for Step It Up Academy, but for me and for you and some of the cool shit that we both got going on and just the continued growth path that we've been on for years at this point.
Yeah.
It's just cool. It's cool to watch. Cool to part of.
It's exciting. And one of the biggest reasons that I really wanted to partner up with you, because I came to you, I was like, hey man, let's talk, is, you've been a client. I've kind of worked under you for a little bit. We've worked side by side, but like, you're my friend. You really are like one of the best friends that I have. Our families hang out together. Our wives love each other. Like, there's such a cohesiveness, and we live like around the corner from each other, which is definitely helpful. But people are like, don't do business with your friends. What the fuck is that? Like, why would I not want to do business with good people?
Right. Yeah.
So let's ruining friendships or whatever.
Yeah, before we wrap this up, let's give an important lesson here. Okay, you just said we're good friends, we're close. Dude, I know where you live, been to your house, hung out with you. We've traveled internationally. We've literally done life together. Okay. With that being said, when we got into this business arrangement, one of the first things I said to you was, "Awesome, but we're going to put a contract in place."
Absolutely.
Right. So even though we have this good relationship, I want to ensure that relationship stays good. I don't want this to, let's do business together and some shit goes sideways because we weren't really clear in the communication. And then 6 months, a year, 18 months, 5 years from now, I fucking hate your guts.
Right.
I don't want that.
Because both of us have been there.
I've literally done that more times than I'd like to admit. So let's spend a little bit of time on the front end, right? And call it what you want. Call this the honeymoon phase of us working together if you want, right? Let's document it now. Let's say, hey, this is what you're responsible for. This is what I'm responsible for. This is what I expect from you. This is how much I'm going to compensate you for doing X, Y, and Z, right? We lay all that out now. We sign on the dotted fucking line, and it's that simple, folks. It's black and white.
Yeah.
Right? And look, man, are we going to always agree on something? Probably not. But you and I also know that we can come to each other and say, hey, I got to talk to you about something.
Yeah.
Right? And we just have the open, direct conversation at that point.
Yep. Good shit's coming, man.
Yeah. Appreciate you, man.
It's exciting.
Let's wrap it up.
Make good choices, y'all.
Thank you for tuning in to the Step It Up Entrepreneur Podcast. Make sure you head over to stepitupentrepreneur.com and make sure you subscribe so you never miss an episode of the Step It Up Entrepreneur Podcast.